Sir, one of your very enthusiastic and learned honorable members, the first person who spoke from the BJP, congratulated you for all the great work you've done and what you've learnt in 45 days, and no one has done anything in the last 60 years. You have obviously at first in your opening lines delivered a historic opening lines of your budget. I've gone through the last 30 years budgets. This is the first time, and it is historic, that the railway mantri has not put in one word besides the number of employees to thank the railway family. This is a family of 13.1 lakh employees. This is a family which is the same size of the family of the armed forces with 13 fraction employees. This is a family with 13 lakh pensioners. The armed forces have 25 lakh pensioners. This is a family which doesn't sleep at night. Just like the army and its jawans and brave soldiers don't sleep at night, I would like to believe the railway family deserves two simple words: a thank you from the rail mantri. Sir, you will pardon me if I got a little emotional in my opening, because the story which I was telling you about the 4 generations is the story of my mother's family. And I had the good fortune about 3 or 4 years ago, before I came to Parliament, when the then Honourable Railway Minister, Mamta Banerjee, asked me to do a role as the chairman of the Passenger Services Committee, which I enjoyed. Now sir, through you, let me share some thoughts, some views, some constructive criticism and the way forward, because I believe there is a chance to take this forward. 1, in your reply, and 2 is in the next budget which you will present a few months from now. Let's come to my first point today. Passenger fares. 30,000 crores negative on passenger fares. Sir, the Trinamool Congress disputes this figure of 30,000 crores. Our belief is that this figure is 7,000, 8,000 crores maximum. So the first reason I should give you is, why do we dispute this figure? And I'm happy, along with the Rail Mantri ji here, Nirmala ji is also here from the Finance Ministry. Now, we heard lots of things in the budget about reform and the way forward. Very good. If you are really serious about doing some serious reform, look at those passenger fare distribution costs. Let me take you back to 1921. 1921, where Ackworth Committee, I don't know who Mr. Ackworth was, but there was an Ackworth Committee set up in 1921, and 4 years later, on the recommendations of the Ackworth Committee, in 1925, the first railway budget was presented. Mr. Minister, sir, it has been 90 years, and the way passenger fares are calculated, or the heads which they are put under, are the same as those which were proposed by the late and genius Mr. Ackworth 90 years ago. If you are serious about looking at that system, I suggest you look at the Ackworth. The first thing you might tell me is, then why didn't you look at the Ackworth when Mamta ji was the railway minister? Well, a lot of work was done. A lot of work was done. Maybe the spirit was strong, but the flesh was weak, and other developments took place after that. Sir, 95% of the fares which we are talking about, 95% is not to do with Shatabdi and Duronto and Rajdhani. 95% is the base fare. In your speech, sir, and before that, some of the members of the BJP told us about China. We've heard lots about China. Just 2 quick points on China. 1, China does not touch base fares. China hits you at the higher fares. China do not touch base fares. And the second point about China is, China, the government funds the big projects. Sir, if you relook at those numbers, there is no reason, A, to push those passenger fares up before the budget, B, to put it up by 14%, and C, finding a reason to put the fares up again maybe in the next 6 months or 8 months. We do not buy the argument that if you want better amenities, if you want better safety, you have to pay more. Who has to pay more? Our belief is the two are not linked to each other. That's on passenger fares. Sir, I would again like to quote from your budget, because by your own admission, Mr. Chairman, sir, the Rail Mantriji seems to be in a dilemma. These are his words, not mine. The dilemma of choosing between commercial, I quote, the dilemma of choosing between commercial viability and social viability. Sir, there is no dilemma. As far as the Trinamool Congress is concerned, there is absolutely no dilemma. Social viability 1, commercial viability 2. There have been enough rail budgets presented on this issue. I don't think, sir, if you are in a dilemma, well, please try in the next few months to get out of this dilemma. And the first speaker from the BJP in this house and the railway minister in that house said, my predecessors fell prey to the nasha of claps in the house when they announced these projects. And through the speech, not much credit given to the predecessors. The honorable leader of the opposition, Ghulam Nabi Ji, when he spoke, he also gave you a few examples of how these ideas were either robbed or pinched, or the less generous would say copy-paste. I disagree humbly with the learned leader of the opposition in this part of his speech, because when he was referring to the copy-paste examples, he referred to 2013 budget. 2013 copy-pasted and made into 2014. True. But I want to go one step back for the leader of the opposition. If the BJP government copy-pasted, the NDA government copy-pasted 2014, where was 2013? Where did 2013 copy-paste from? So this is a copy-paste of a copy-paste. Because in 2000, I want to give you a few examples of where the original copy-paste came from. Just 5 or 6 very quick examples. I quote from your budget, sir. 17,000 RPF, 4,000 RPF. Now I'll quote from 2010. 12 companies of women RPF personnel to be named Mahila Vahini. 16,000 ex-servicemen to be deployed in the force. Now, a certain lady said this in her budget speech in 2009 and 2010. Fair enough. If you like the idea, by all means copy it. But at least, sir, give the credit where it is due. Again, sir, I quote, Railways propose to introduce modern trolleys at all important stations. Now, I'm not quoting from 2014. I'm quoting from 2010. You talk about these stations. These are already in existence in the stations. Let's come to the third one. I've got 5, 6 examples. Improved linen management to bring about quality of washing through mechanized automated laundries. Year 2010. Now listen to 2014. This is paraphrasing like they taught us in school. New one. Increased mechanized laundry in order to improve quality of bedrolls provided in AC coaches. Maybe in 2009 and 10 they were only talking about the pillowcases, and now you are talking about the bedrolls. RO drinking water, same, mentioned in 2010-11, implemented in 4 or 5 places. The railway officers would update you, sir. Sir, Mushkil Asan was the brand name, 2009-2010. These were automated vending machines which were selling tickets. In your budget speech, sir, you talk about next generation e-ticketing system. Started already in 2009-10. Cleanliness outsourcing. Here, you did not refer to any of the budget speeches. You referred to the Vision 2020 document. Sir, Eureka Forbes, to the best of my knowledge, have already been outsourced to do a lot of this cleanliness outsourcing. Domestic tourism, it's the same story. Repeat 2010-11 and bullet train. Now, the bullet train was mentioned in the Vision 2020 document, which was UPA 2, Railway Minister Mamata Banerjee. And why, even though it was mentioned in that document, Vision 2020, why was it not spoken about after that? What was the logic? In that same document of Vision 2020, which you have generously copy-pasted from in your current speech, a freight corridor was also mentioned. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've kept the freight corridor and you've kept the bullet train. Why was the bullet train not mentioned in 5 years? I hope in the next few minutes I can tell you why. One, the cost to build a bullet train per kilometer approximately can be between 150 to 200 crore rupees per kilometer. 150 to 200 crores. And the cost to build a dedicated freight corridor, and I'm not a railway expert, so I'm giving you loose figures which I've read and understood. If that's 150 to 200 for the bullet train, for the dedicated freight corridor, it's anywhere between 10, say 15, 20 crores. So because of the huge cost differences, the idea itself of a bullet train is great, but is this an idea whose time has come? Other speakers before me have mentioned also about the prohibitive costs of bullet trains. Sir, having generous digs at railway ministers, dismissing all that they have done and saying that every railway budget has been populism before this and this one is not. Fine. If you don't want to do populism, don't do populism, quote unquote, then why introduce 58 new trains, may I ask you, sir? 58 new trains will require 1,000 new wagons. 1,000 new wagons is the total capacity of the integral coach factory in Chennai. Plus you have to replace all your existing old wagons. So don't tell us you don't want to do populism, then slip all this in. Sir, and I think it is my duty here to recap some of the big contributions which have been made by former railway ministers. It was Sri Gopal Swami Iyengar who introduced the concept, and I'm not playing politics here for the next 20 minutes because I wasn't even for the first 10. But we need to appreciate what has been done in the past. Gopal Swami Iyengar introduced the concept of railway zones. If it wasn't for Sri Madhu Dandavate ji, perhaps we would have still had railway sleepers which didn't have a cushion. Those were all wooden cushions, and Madhu Dandavate ji introduced cushions. It was Madhav Rao Scindia ji who was the first to seriously take IT as a serious player in and integrate the Indian Railways. Sri Nitish Kumar introduced the Tatkal scheme. He introduced the Tatkal scheme, and he also introduced the Rail Sampark Express. And that was another concept. That was a brand. Sampark Kranti, correct. Laluji introduced the Garib Rath. Mamata Banerjee, Vision 2020 document, Duronto Express, Izzat Passes, and these railway ministers in their past have also created brands across parties. If Laluji created a Garib Rath, it was a cheaper version of the Rajdhani. Sampark Kranti had a very interesting concept where it would go from Delhi, let's say go to a state, and in the state it would have many stops. Duronto, after Rajdhani and Shatabdi, Duronto perhaps is an idea. It's a big idea. These are the big ideas. Tell us in your budget which is your one big idea, or the one big idea which is the bullet train, which will take many years to become a reality. My Hindi is very bad, but I'm going for Hindi tuition. I'm trying to improve, but at least I'm good enough to have learned 4 words. Sabke saath, sabka vikas. मैं बढ़िया बोलता हूँ? मेरा ट्यूटर भी खुश हो जाएंगे. सबके साथ सबका विकास. Sabka Saath. Okay, thank you. I want to give you some examples of how this has remained a slogan. Let me give you two examples, and then I'm afraid you'll have to put on your headsets because I'm going to speak from the state where I come from, and I'm more comfortable speaking. Let me give you two examples. These have to qualify to go into the Guinness Book of World Records. Adra, remember I told you the story of Adra at the beginning. Adra coach factory is in Bengal, and Kharagpur wagon factory is in Bengal. The allocated budget, the total budget for the Adra coach factory is 176 crores. And for Kharagpur, 100 crores. Guess how much our very generous rail minister has allocated to these two projects, 176 crores and 100 crores. Maybe if we had allocated 10 crores, we'd have said, not bad, it will take 10 years to build. Maybe 5 crores, we'd have been happy. Maybe 1 crore, we wouldn't have been smiling. Maybe 1 lakh, we'd have been shattered. 1,000 rupees, sir. 1,000 rupees on a 176 crore project. আমি এখন বাংলায় বলবো আপনি আদ্রা কোচ ফ্যাক্টরি থেকে 176 কোটি টাকার প্রজেক্ট আপনি অ্যালোকেট করেছেন 1000 টাকা আপনাকে আমি ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি খড়গপুর ওয়াগন ফ্যাক্টরি 100 কোটি টাকার প্রজেক্ট আপনি অ্যালোকেট করেছেন 1000 টাকা বাংলা কি ভুল করেছে বাংলা কি বিজেপিকে ভোট দেয়নি 15% 16% ভোট দিয়েছে দুটো এমপি হয়েছে আমাদের 34টা হয়েছে সিরিয়াসলি দাদা বাংলা কিন্তু আপনাদের থেকে ভিক্ষে চায় না আরো বলি আপনাকে ক্যালকাটা মেট্রো Kolkata Metro is the only metro run by the Indian Railways, the only one. Everyone else is independent. And the first metro. Kolkata Metro, 10,000 কোটি আপনি দিয়েছেন 500 কোটি Toy train Darjeeling is a UN heritage site. একটা আপনি দেখুন কিভাবে টয় ট্রেনকে ভালোভাবে সাহায্য করা যায় কলকাতায় হাই স্পিড ডায়মন্ড কোয়াড্রাঙ্গেল বলছেন বেঙ্গলের কলকাতা ওই ডায়মন্ড কোয়াড্রাঙ্গেল নেই কোয়াড্রাঙ্গেলের বাইরে আরো আপনাকে বলি I indulge the patience of my colleagues here, and I'm not being shy about this, because I have a list of 8 to read about projects where the outlay, the total cost of the project is 400-500 crores.
Directji.
But I've only one speaker here, 28 minutes.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yes, you know that.
Sir,
yes. Okay, proceed. I only wanted to caution you. Yes.
এগুলো আপনাদের বলি সার্কুলার রেল এক্সপ্যানশন 281 কোটি টাকা আপনারা দিয়েছেন 2 কোটি লক্ষ্মীকান্ত নামখানা 400 কোটি দিয়েছেন 1 কোটি তারকেশ্বর বিষ্ণুপুর 900 কোটি দিয়েছেন 5 কোটি এটা শুনুন তারকেশ্বর মোরগ্রা ফুরফুরা 350 কোটি আপনি দিয়েছেন 20 লাখ হাসনাবাদ হিমালগঞ্জ 250 কোটি দিয়েছেন 50 লাখ এইভাবে লম্বা লিস্ট হাওড়া দীঘা টু জলেশ্বর তমলুক টু দীঘা বাদুলা to Lalgod, Diamond Harbour line upgradation, Canning line upgradation, Canning. This entire list, sir, is, I don't know whether the Mantriji, I'm sure, has seen this and in his wisdom has given us this pitiful allocation to Bengal. Sir, let me move on to another very fascinating part of this subject, which is rail, which is freight. 20 years ago, 60% of all freight which moved in India moved by rail. That 60% figure has come down to 31%. Fine, blame all the railway ministers for it, fine. Freight is growing at 4.8%, and if I were to believe the finance minister, what he said, and there's no reason to disbelieve him, is growing at 5.4%. If the economy is growing at 6%, freight cannot be growing at 4.8, sir. You need some ideas to get freight to grow at 6+ or 7%. Where is freight losing out to, sir? I have 2 points. One is, Food Corporation of India moves 250 million tons through rail, through total 250 million tons, and the rail is 50 million tons. And cement, out of about 290 million tons, 90 million tons moves from the railway, sir. Now, where is the problem here? The problem is, railways are losing out to road. And the two solutions which we give you, sir, please, I urge you to at least try them, because some of them already been tried as pilot project. You cannot compete with road. First, on the railways, you cannot book a consignment today which is 1,000 tons, 1,500 tons. You can't. Each railway wagon is 60 tons, 10 wagons, 600 tons. You can't. Where do you go? You go to the road. Now, you need to stop competing with road and make road your partner. So, we recommend what was done in Konkan, try that again, sir. Ro-ro. Ro-ro. The concept of ro-ro is roll on and roll off. So the trucks absolutely are loaded onto the train. The trucks move, the trucks don't move, the train moves, and they are knocked off at the destination, point B. Please, sir, try ro-ro as a pilot project. The other pilot project, sir, which you ought to try is road railer, where again a steel wheel also is a pneumatic tire. That's the basic concept. So these are the two small ideas, sir, for freight. The idea is not to compete with the roads. And number two, you have to get smaller tonnages, much smaller tonnages, not 3,000, 4,000. There's a thought in the budget, and I'll give credit where it's due. There's a thought on parcel. Extend that thought into freight, and then you will be talking about 500, 600 tons, and that's why you will not be competing with road. Sir, I'll make 4 sentences and 4 quick points before concluding. The first of those points is on catering policy. Sir, there is a new catering policy in place which was put together in 2010. Sir, please take a look at that catering policy, I urge you, and with all the responsibility of my command, please find out whether one family runs the catering business in India. The name of the company is Kam Sam. Kam Sam is a racket in the Indian Railways. Do what you can to break this racket. One family, all different addresses. We also tried. Kam Sam. Number 2, diesel hikes linked to airfares. Sir, please do not link diesel hikes to airfares. Please, we've spoken a lot on this. On FDI, the view of my party on defense, insurance and rail is very, very well known, sir. And the magic PP people will not solve all your problems. Sir, I conclude with the point on safety. And before I come to any different kind of safety, sir, the elephant corridor. There is also a safety issue there. Alipurduar to Jalpaiguri, elephants are being killed. There are rules in place. The railways have the rules. Sir, I urge the minister through you to please implement those rules about not driving. And there's also a Supreme Court order. Elephants are getting killed. 1 out of 3 level crossings in this country are unmanned. Our suggestion is put a timeline in place, sir. Put a timeline in place, because otherwise there's no other solution for this, sir. Sir, I will end now, because I'm also love being on the internet and love tweeting and being on Facebook and everything. So Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi is a favorite 4-letter word. But I will tell you a story which might want you to rethink the 4-letter word. And the story goes back 10, 11 years to Paresh Nathwani. Now, Paresh Nathwani is a pipe dealer in Kandivali in Mumbai. This is a true story. 10 or 11 years ago, Paresh Nathwani saw, which was horrific to him, someone was knocked down by a train, and then they got these advertising banners to wrap the body of this person. So Paresh Nathwani, from that time 11 years ago, this happened in Grant Road, religiously goes to Grant Road and to Andheri station every day. 10 shrouds are needed every day for accidents on the suburban trains of Bombay. Paresh Nathwani gives 650 yards of cloth every year are not enough to prevent those rail accidents in Bombay. Sir, safety is an issue. On the bigger point of safety, sir, I'll take a minute. On the bigger point of safety, sir, we can recommend to you the ACD or the anti-collision device is the best way to go. That has been tested. But coming back to my story, so Paresh Nathwani and his friends give out those shrouds to save. The only way that 4,000 number can come down and disappear is not by a four-letter word called WIFI, but by another four-letter word, WALL. Sir, Wi-Fi is important, but you decide whether you still want to go with the second four-letter word. Thank you, sir.